Hello, welcome back to my channel. Talented Tiana is here again with a fine Bubu dress. I'm about to show you how I made it.
Let's get prepared.
Get prepared.
Shh.
Listen
Carefully
and pay attention. Okay, first I'm gonna do the inner, which I folded into 4. You can see I folded it and I measured it down because it's rough, so that I'll cut it off, and from there I got the full length, which is at 55, and I marked the shoulder line, bust line. The shoulder line is at 0, and the bust line, which I'm using as bust anyway, is at 9. The waist and the hip line. So I divided the shoulder. 14 by 2 is 7. Come down to the armpit line and mark the 7 to join the upper one. So I measured the bust, which is 40 by 4 is 10. The waist is 38 by 4 is 9.5. Then the hip is 44 by 4, which is at 11. Mind you, you can still add your allowances, but I didn't add because my fabric stretches. So because the hip is 11, I added 2 inches to the down and I made it at 13. That is the slit length is 12 inches. Yes. Okay, covering the armpits, measure out the neck, the front and the back. The front is at 7 and the back is at 3 because I want it to be down. So I curve it in and I'm going to cut the bolt at the back neck. That is, I'm cutting everything together. After cutting everything, as you can see it, I notched the slits so that I won't misplace the stitching. Then I opened it, removed the back one and cut down the front neck so that it's gonna be down and different from the back. Okay, it's ready. Now I want to cut the main fabric. I folded it into 4 and try to flatten the fabric so that there won't be any gallop or folded fabric, and I cut out the rough end. So I measured to check if the fabric will be enough for what I'm doing. It's not enough, so I'm gonna use this side to complete it. It is 8. I'll cut it, fold it into 2 and use it and complete the length. So I'm cutting the neck now. The back neck should be 3 inches by 2 inches. That is 3. Then, and I mark it to 2 inches for the back. Then the front should be 6 inches. That is 3 inches, and the depth is 6 inches. So I curve in the back, also curve in the front, and I'll cut both of them. I'll first of all cut the back together. So now it's time to divide the bust, the waist and the hip. The bust line or armpit line for Bubu dresses, I mark them at 11 or 12 depending on the height or how big you want the armhole to be. So the waist is at 15 and the hip is at 25. These are the 3 measurements you need for your Bubu or butterfly dress. It's as simple as that. So I'm now dividing the bust into 4. After the division, let's assume the bust is 42, which will give us 10.5. You now add 2 inches or 1 inch depending on how loose your clients want it. So you have to divide the waist. Like now I added 2 inches so that I'll use 1 inch as seam allowance and the other 1 inch will help. So I divided the waist and added 2 inches also, divided the hip, which is at 44, and added 2 inches. That is 13, and I joined all my markings. So after joining the markings now, the hip is 13. Remember, I'll take my tape down to the length and I add 2 inches to what I used initially. So that is 13 plus 2 is 15, so that it will flay out somehow, because I don't want it to have any slits, but the inner has a slit. You can see it's a kind of little A-line. So I joined everything, and now it's time to cut the hand. You can see my sketch. I did this sketch so that it will be clear how I did it. This is the pattern how I did the sketching. I made that sketch because the lace takes in chalk. After drawing it, you may not be able to see it. That is why I did it that way. So it's cutting time. Cut, and cut everything out. Yes, our pattern is very ready. Okay, time to cut out the neck, the front neck. I notched both shoulders so that I can now open it wide, match the two fronts, match these 2 shoulders, place it down and cut out the front neck. That is what I'm doing, so that the front neck will be down. Yes, cut it out. Cut it, and your bubu is ready. Then I now complete the length with the little mesh from the material. Oh, thank you very much for staying till this moment. I love you. Bye bye.